Poke the Bear is brought to you by PrizePicks and the GameTime app.
And welcome into Poke the Bear, episode 290, presented by PrizePicks and GameTime tickets. My name is Conor Ryan. And once again, we are joined by the esteemed Ty Anderson of 98.5 The Sports Hub. Ty, how you doing?
What's going on? Coming to you live from the my office here at the 98.5 The Sports Hub studios. Not at home today, live from the studio. So it's a little bit of a weird location, but you know, here we are.
Changing things up a little bit. I know it's fresh off the hockey show. I'm sure we're going to be talking about the same things, Ty. But before we dive into a miserable game for the Bruins in Columbus, how was your Christmas? How was your holidays?
It was good. You know, I think I'm one of these people who I like the holidays. Bit of a different holiday this year. Just a lot going on for sure. But it's always nice to you know, get a little bit of downtime, see some friends, see some family, go from there. I know it's not unique to like the holidays. Everyone likes the holidays for the most part, but I think as you get older and you know, every year your kind of Christmas gets a little bit smaller. You enjoy having that uninterrupted, you know, family time where, like, listen, it's Christmas Day. Not a lot of places are going to be calling my name. This is when I'm happy that we don't cover the NBA, where, you know, Celtics are playing and we got to be at the Garden. So it's nice. It's nice to have an excuse-free sort of hangout with all your family and friends, you know, and shout out to everyone who wasn't able to get that, you know, working, keeping the country running and what you're, you know, everything like that. But it was great. It's nice to just have a couple of days where you're just seeing family and you're juggling some schedules, but it's not nearly as chaotic as it is now, you know, on a random Sunday, you know, so to speak, in terms of getting time with family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Same boat. Was able to relax a little bit, low key. Nothing better than that. Excited to kind of get back into the swing of things now. I don't think the Bruins were in the same boat where I think they enjoyed their holidays, but we're not ready to go on Friday against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Lose 6-2. And I think you looked at the last game they played before this was that Monday game against the Capitals. I would say probably their best win of the year. And great timing, right? A tough matchup. You dominated play, held them to 11 shots on goal. And you have like the holiday break to let that kind of marinate a little bit of like, maybe they're back. Maybe they're turning the corner here. You're feeling good. And then they drop a deuce right on the ice in Columbus. Not exactly what you're looking for this team. And again, kind of falls on what we've said all year, where take a step forward and they take a step back. It's tough to kind of find a groove or find any sort of momentum with this team in terms of what they're trying to build here.
Yeah, and I think you know, Billy Jaffe said it on the Nesson post game last night, and I thought he nailed it. Where, like, you know, the part that really sucks about this is not the fact that they lost the game. Like, Columbus has beaten some pretty good competition, especially in their building this year. It's that it comes right after what you mentioned, the defensive clinic against Washington, and yeah, Washington was on the second leg of a back-to-back. They didn't have Ovechkin, so maybe you're not getting their best punch, but you still won that game. You had some key moments there where you really stepped up and you had a good 5-minute kill. You allowed 0 shots on goal during that kill, and then really what happens on Friday night in Columbus is a lot of what has happened when they've lost this year. You know. So the penalty trouble, they go 0-for-3 on the PK. And really what happens is bad decisions that end up in the back of your net pretty much every time. And thirdly, when things slip for this team, they slip quickly, right? 3 goals in 2 minutes and 47 seconds. And that's your ball game right there. You know, like that 2-minute 47-second stretch, like that's where it all falls apart for the Bruins. And so, that's sort of, you know, that was an element there where it was all of their bad qualities coming back to the table, back to the surface in that second period of play, I thought.
Yeah, and I think the concerning thing, as you said, we've seen multiple games where they've spiraled out and they've lost lopsided matchups. And we've seen games like Carolina and Dallas where the defensive lapses lead to odd man rushes, all these sorts of things. The PK is not up to par, all those things. But this game too, like, listen, like Columbus, I think, is a young, skilled team. They got some speed. They can score a lot of goals. You should be able to score goals on the other end of the ice, which the Bruins did not do. But you look at like the underlying numbers. This wasn't like the Carolina game was a lot of like quick strike, big fuck ups, and it leads to goals and, you know, pucks in the back of the net. This was like a pretty thorough ass kicking like throughout the game. Like you look at like the underlying numbers, Blue Jackets just at 5-on-5 play, not counting the fact they went 3 for 3 on the power play. They had a 15-7 edge in high danger chances. They had a 31-18 edge in scoring chances. Like they were bullying the Bruins in their own end for the entire game. Like this wasn't like multiple blips where you're looking at Akala or Zadorov or McAvoy and be like, oh, or Lori like doing like, oh, what exactly are you doing there? This was consistently getting your ass kicked in your own end, which was, I think, probably even more discouraging when you look at the quality of competition, the timing, all of it. It was just there's not a whole lot of positives to draw out a game like that where you got pantsed pretty much in Columbus.
Yeah, and I mean, look at how it all breaks down, right? Zach Werenski has 4 assists, best player on the ice. Charlie McAvoy is missing hits and taking penalties and having a downright miserable game. And that can be the difference when you go against high-end talent. And let's even look up front. Voronkov has a great game. Marchenko has a great game. Sean Monahan scores 2 goals. Like teams that have that high-end talent, like if your talent doesn't match it, you're going to have a hard time winning. And that's sort of been the name of the game for this team this year, where, they're not talented enough to cover up their mistakes most nights. It's not a knock on them as a ceiling, but they're not built to win 5-4 most nights. Unless they have a Pastrnak takeover, unless McAvoy is a 3-zone dynamo, like it's going to be hard for them to do that. And so when other teams' best players are their best players, if you don't match that, you're not going to win that game. And that has been the theme of this team. Every time they lose, it's more than just what we've talked about with things getting away from them. It's that when good players elevate and are great, if your guys don't match that, you don't win the game. You are not deep enough to cover up for those inefficiencies. You're too top heavy right now. And it is what it is. Like you can't go back and change that. But when a guy like McAvoy does not have it, like he didn't have it on Friday night, it's going to be hard to win that game right now. It just is.
Yeah. And it also makes you dread, a couple of these upcoming matchups against teams like Tampa Bay, where they have a pretty top heavy roster. And I think they're a lot better than what I was expecting this year, because I thought they were going to be pretty one-dimensional, but they've had a lot of guys pulling on their weight, but also their top guys routinely take over games between Kucherov and Point and Gensel. So, like, again, if you're in some of these games against some of these opponents where you just have to shrug your shoulders when Kucherov has a takeover shift, like, if you have the offense or the metal to stick in the game and stick to your system, then you can overcome that. If you have the offense to be like, all right, like we know Kucherov's going to get his. Same with like a McDavid, what have you. Like we know sometimes shit happens, but we stick to our game plan. We can get on the power play, get a goal. This team's not necessarily built that way, right? Where it's almost like you have to play like a pretty flawless game, and that doesn't mean like the game against the Capitals where it's 11 shots on goal. Like, that's not going to happen. But like you have to play like a pretty rigid, structured system. And if one guy fucks up, like it all comes undone, right? Like it's like you look at some of those plays, it's just one guy, one bad line change, and all of a sudden you're chasing the game. This team just doesn't have the horses right now to claw back when it is like even a 3-1 game. That even that feels insurmountable.
Yeah, let's go back to the Monday game real quick. So you have the 5-minute PK. You allow 0 shots on goal, but a key part of that, in my opinion, was right off the jump, you have a good shorthanded rush, and all of a sudden, that puck doesn't get on goal. Washington has numbers going the other way. Nikita Zadorov gets on his horse, snuffs out the play, what could have been a game-changing kind of goal for Washington, being on a 5-minute major. It could have scored unlimited power play goals, and, no one's coming out of that box until it's 5 minutes. But then you look at the game-winning goal, right? It's a ferocious back check from Charlie Coyle, who gets back there, wins a puck battle, protects the puck, and then sends it up ice where it leads to the Marchand-Lindholm chance that Lindholm scores the goal. Like those details got to be there, right? And you compare those details versus the Fantilli goal, the second goal, where you got 4 guys going off the ice at the same time. In the second period, we get the long change. You're coming off the power play opportunity, and Brandon Carlo then makes a bad read on it, tries to make a puck play when he doesn't have the proper support, and you have 4 guys chasing. Like it can't happen in that situation. It can't happen in that moment. And that's the difference for this team between winning and losing. When their details are there, when they simplify their game and they realize who they are, they win. When they try to make hope plays and Hail Mary plays, they are not answered nearly as much as they are when they stick to their structure and their details. So that's what it comes back to for me. Like, you just put those two segments side by side and you have your answer as to why the things happened the way they did on Friday night.
Yeah, it's really, really frustrating for the Bruins, especially when you just look at the timing of it, the straying from the identity. We'll talk a little bit more about this one, Ty. Unfortunately, we still have to talk more about it.
Why?
Before we do, I know there's nothing else going on, Ty. Like, I wish they won 5-1. We keep the good vibes going, but we can't do that. No, the Bruins refuse to actually string together some momentum. So we'll continue to talk about a miserable game in Columbus. But before we do that, let's take a quick break. Hear from our good friends over at PrizePicks. The snow is falling. Eggnog is still flowing. I don't know about you. Eggnog is still flowing. Amazon.
I don't want any of that. I don't keep.
You don't want any
eggnog.
of that?
No.
I will take all of it.
Eggnog
is still flowing. Yes.
It's hurt. It is. Sorry to interrupt this. Eggnog is one of those things that is hurt by just having an abysmal name. Just an abysmal name. I don't like
eggs in it.
And you say nog, and I think noggin. And so it's like egghead. I'm thinking egghead when you tell me about eggnog. I don't want it. I'm all set.
Dude, it's a cherished drink. Do you know how hard Phil Hartman and Jingle All the Way worked to get that perfect eggnog?
Listen, you can have that. I'll stick with my Shirley Temples. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
You have that. That's fine. The snow is falling, Ty. The eggnog is still flowing in this household. And you know what that means? Hockey season is in full swing. And this December, make your holidays bigger and brighter with PrizePicks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You just need to pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash as you run your game all season long on America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Join now because this holiday season, PrizePicks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. PrizePicks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. There's no real shortage of ways to participate in PrizePicks, especially during the hockey season. This week, I'm picking David Pastrnak for more than 1.5 goals, maybe a little ambitious, but 1.5 goals, and Elias Lindholm for more than 9 faceoffs won. It's really that easy. So cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this hockey season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS, CLNS, on the PrizePicks app to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Shout out once again to our good friends over at PrizePicks. Ty, we'll pivot from the eggnog discussion. Still a great drink. Still gets me in the festive mood. I digress. When you look at other things that have hurt this team, one thing that kind of keeps coming back to, and even when they've been playing well under Joe Sacco, special teams still is crushing this team right now. You look at where they are power play wise, they're still 31st in the league at 13.1%. And even the PK, which, they've had strong stretches, especially under Joe Sacco. They have the 5-minute kill against Washington, which was felt like one of the bigger moments of the season in terms of, thriving and taking on the challenge of a gut punch moment. They're still 25th in the league. They're still, I think, 75.4%. Not really a winning formula for your team, especially when you've got so many issues in terms of scoring. Like the defense, I think at 5-on-5, yes, again, they're not going to be 11 shots on goal good, but I think they can stick to a pretty rigid system that will make things difficult in terms of limiting high danger looks, what have you. But at 5-on-5, you're not going to be able to score at a consistent rate. Your special teams has to be better. Like it's you just like run the numbers. It's not a winning formula in any capacity to be 20, bottom 25 and bottom 25 in both power play and PK. Like something's got to give there. This team actually wants to make some gains.
Yeah, you said it, right? Bottom 25, so 25th on the PK, 31st on the power play, as you mentioned. So that's your bottom 8, right? Like you're or bottom 7, whatever it is. Like it's not a formula. Like, I forget the exact number. I think it's 100, right? Somebody said that typically if your power play percentage plus your PK percentage is 100, like you're a good team. They're not. They're at 85 basically. Like, it's not good. It's not good enough. And so I think one thing, one positive, right, within the coaching change as it relates to the PK has been they're not taking as many penalties. You're still going to kill off the ones you are taking, but I believe since the coaching change, the only game where they've taken more than 4 minors, it was the Winnipeg game where they took 6, or 6 trips to the kill, however you want to, phrase it. But you got to kill the penalties you do take, right? And I think what I didn't like about last night's game is that the penalties were a result of being hemmed in your defensive zone or being out of position and having to take a dumb slashing penalty, whatever it is. And that's a sign. That's when they're at their worst, right? Like you look at when they take bad penalties, it's almost always a stick infraction because they're chasing the play. And, they've now given up at least 3 power play goals 6 times this year, 6 times in their last 33 games, to be more specific. I was really curious. How long was the previous stretch of giving up 3 power play goals 6 times? Like how many? It's been 6 and 33. How many was it the last time that happened? Do you want to know the answer? It's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, I really don't, but I know you're gonna tell me, and it's gonna be really bad.
6 times in 652 games, dating back to February 9th, 2016. You know what that February 9th game was, by the way, in 2016? That was the game where the LA Kings dropped 9 goals on them. It was Milan Lucic's first game back in Boston after being traded to LA. So that's how long ago that was, right? Like that's an insane number. And so part of that is the league changing, right? Like teams have better power plays now than they did, let's say even 3 years ago. It's such a bigger part of the game. I think we all agree, but that's bad, man. That is really bad. Like you got to get a key kill because as you alluded to, like you don't have the talent to outscore those kind of problems. You just don't. And so I think especially to your point with if your power play is as bad as it's been, you can't go goal for goal with another team's power play unit. You just can't do it, it feels like. And so it's a massive problem for this team. And it's been better, but last night was a massive step back in that regard. I don't know how you felt watching it. I just felt like they weren't even close. Like they were just getting battered and peppered on the PK, and it was just inevitable. Like poor Jonas Corposalo going side to side. It's like pinball against the poor guy. I felt bad for him.
Yeah, and it's almost like what do you view as? I think the correct statement is that both the power play and PK are both very concerning. Which one are you more concerned about? Because you can make an argument that, like, the power play should not be this bad, and the fact that it's been so stagnant and so predictable with the personnel that they have is very concerning. But is it also more concerning that the PK, which has been kind of this team's bread and butter, and this is kind of their identity of being a rigid, structured defensive system, is also committing these lapses? Like, is there one that leapfrogs the other in terms of like, man, what the hell's going on here? Because both are, going well below what I think we all expected.
It's got to be the power play for me because they have too many power play opportunities where it's just listless. Like there's really not a lot of high-end opportunity, high-end chances, a lot of standing around, a lot of being very stationary. Like, okay, go to the Voronkov power play goal in the second period on Friday night. It should have been a penalty. Brandon Carlo's stick gets tomahawked right off the faceoff, but it's not. But they're making aggressive plays to try to get the puck out. Brandon Carlo moves up and probably shouldn't have because he left the front of the net all alone for Voronkov there. but he tries to make a play, realizing Elias Lindholm doesn't have a stick. I got to jump up and try to get this puck out of here, get a change, whatever. Then you watch the power play. You got 4 guys just standing around watching the puck carrier. And there was a sequence there where I think it was Pastrnak tried sending a puck to McAvoy, I think, and McAvoy just wasn't ready. Just like wasn't ready. It's like, why are you out there then? What are we doing? What are we doing? You got to be ready. And again, you compare it versus Columbus's power play, where every guy out there already knows what he's doing with the puck before he even gets it. I don't feel like the Bruins power play has that kind of mentality. It's almost like they get the puck and they're waiting for something to happen. And it's like, you got to force the issue, guys. You got to take charge. You got to do something there. And I think it's especially noticeable with the top unit. With the top unit, they are hunting for the perfect play. And I think teams are letting them beat themselves right now. So for me, it's the power play. Because if you're going to give your top unit 90 seconds, they got to do something, man. And it just feels like they are way too stationary and they wait for the plays to come to them. But it's like, yeah, man, well, you got to do something. You can't just stand there. It's like I love you. It's Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Well, you can't just lay there. You got to do something. You got to get up. Like there's an element there of do less, but also do something. And I feel like right now the Bruins just they aren't doing much of anything on that top unit.
Yeah. Not us, buddy. Not us.
Honestly.
Yes, honestly. Yeah, that's the way it actually is playing out. Yeah, very frustrating. Ty, we'll keep on talking about this game. Let's keep the bad vibes going. But before we do that, let's take a quick break and hear from our good friends over at GameTime Tickets. It's the holiday season. You know what that means. Carols, maxing out your credit card, maybe some eggnog, and of course, catching a game with your family and friends. And if you're a Bruins or Celtics fan and want to end the year on a high note, you got to go with GameTime Tickets. There's nothing better than ushering in the holiday season with a game in December over at the Garden, be it the Celtics or the Bruins. And with hockey and basketball season in full swing, now is your time to take in the action. And GameTime Tickets will get you the best seats at the best prices to get into the Garden. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying NHL and NBA tickets. Want to catch the Bruins home game tonight, December 28th, against the Blue Jackets? How about a New Year's Eve game at the Garden between the Celtics and Raptors? GameTime Tickets has you covered. GameTime Tickets app makes it easy to sort through which specific game, concert, or other event you want to attend and shows you the best spots available to take in the action. GameTime even has a new feature called GameTime Picks, which makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of ticket options. GameTime Tickets also has you covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry, including event cancellation protection, 24-hour returns guarantee, job loss assurance, and on-time ticket delivery. So what are you waiting for? Take the guesswork out of buying NBA or NHL tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. Now, let's get back to the show. Shout out once again to GameTime. Ty, before we wrap this up, looking at just this team, in terms of what they do now, especially with the post-holiday roster freeze done, are you looking at any lineup changes or things that needs to be done to shake things up? Because again, listen, I think you have a lot of star players who should be leading the way for you that did not show up on Friday night in Columbus, but you also have a whole bunch of dead weight all across the roster that also is not impacting the game. Especially look at that third line, the Brazo, Frederick, Wallstrom line.
Miserable.
Has not given you pretty much anything these last couple of games. So if you're the Bruins and now that you have the ability to tweak your roster a little bit, whether it's this game on Saturday against Columbus or moving forward, are there anything that you're trying to look at or trying to move in order to maybe get a little bit more of a spot here or just change things around?
Well, I mean, off the jump here, I think we can both agree that this is probably the best top 6 that they can have with this current roster. I've actually really liked Charlie Coyle on the wing, and I've been one of these guys that I've been very adamantly against that because my feeling was always, well, if you move Charlie Coyle from center to wing, his in-game impact is not going to be as high. He's a guy that needs some puck touches, needs possession, all of that. But what really has happened here, he's got goals in 3 straight games, but also it's not 3 goals on 4 shots. He's taken 13 shots the last 3 games. And if he keeps bringing that, it's like, okay, that's great. Like I'll take that. Morgan Geekie has come alive playing with David Pastrnak and Pavel Zacha. It's been better than I thought it would be. Now you're still gonna have some warts, but sort of what you saw on that Zacha goal Friday night, like that is their bread and butter, right? Like Geekie gets in deep, makes a hit to win possession, and then he gets the puck to the skill guys. All right, that's the formula for a guy like him to succeed there. Consistently, he's got to do that. That third line, though, as you mentioned, they're giving you nothing. I will give you $25 if you can tell me anything that they have done that has been good, meaningful, has led to something. And now that I say this, you're going to have like 5 points on Saturday night, like combined, I bet. But it's not giving you enough, right? And there are multiple problems with that third line. I think you got to give Wahlstrom a chance to stick. When they acquired him, the first thing was kind of, well, you got to give him minutes. All right, well, Friday night was the first time he's played at least 10 minutes.
Yeah,
they're not buying more minutes right now the way they're playing. He's not going to play a lot on the power play. And so Frederick at center, I've never liked. I've never liked it. And I think he's had a bad year so far. But you asked me the question of what changes should they make? Well, you got a guy down in Providence right now who I didn't check Friday night's game, but he's got points. He had points in 9 of 10. He had a 7-game goal scoring streak, and he had 15 points in 16 games, or 16 points in 17 games, whatever it is. If that's not enough to earn up a call-up, and I'm talking about Matthew Poitras, let's just get rid of Providence. Just get rid of it then. Just get rid of it. We don't need it. And so I think Poitras should be called back up because you look at that third line, you need some more offensive creativity. You need some more speed. He brings that. And I think if you're going to maximize Oliver Wahlstrom, you got to give him a center like Matthew Poitras over a center like Trent Frederick or Mark Kastelik. You got to do something closer to that than what they've done so far.
Yeah, no, I agree with Poitras. And I was tempted at first, I think last week when we were talking about it, being like, let's wait till after the new year, let Poitras marinate, have another couple of games. And because I think he's really benefited from playing heavy minutes down there. And I think that's the one thing that I'd be kind of concerned about of all right, you're on a roll now, go drive play with Trent Frederick and, Brezzo and Oliver Wahlstrom. Is that going to translate, even if he's making plays when these guys aren't doing a whole lot out there? But that's the best option you have right now. I'd love to see Poitras in between him and Zacha and Pastrnak. I don't think that will happen. That's just one can dream, it won't. But I do think now when you look at it, the needs at the NHL level is more than I think what Poitras already showcased. Feels like he's ready. Also, there was that game, was it last week, where he was just skating away and a dude cross-checked him right in the back. I'm I also forget that the AHL is kind of no holds barred, Western justice. And I'm oh God, maybe let's get him out of there.
Well, and I think, conversely, I think the best that Frederick has looked this year has been playing with Matthew Poitras. Yeah. I think that's when he's been at his best. And so it's a 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing. Now the problem with that, though, is that who are you going to punish? You're going to punish Justin Brazeau or Oliver Wahlstrom because they all can't play in the same line. I don't think they're going to scratch Frederick. I don't think they're going to. It feels like they're trying everything they can not to do that. But
I know
this is where sort of in my opinion, the identity or not the identity, the status of the GM in having an interim head coach is kind of, it's a little bit, it's unusual, right? Well, who do you want to play, Donnie? All right, well, I want to play Trent Frederick, my homegrown first-round pick. I want to try to get, Johnny Beecher, another first-round pick going. Is it merit-based right now, or is it I don't know. I don't want to get too in the weeds on that, but there are certain guys that are playing right now in the lineup that I don't think they should be given the kind of rope they're getting. And I wonder if they're getting it because they are first round picks and they are guys that they have developed. And, like I just think the two most disappointing Bruins for me up front this year, it's been Johnny Beecher and Trent Frederick. I just don't think they've been good enough. And I don't think that they have taken that next step that a lot of us hoped that they would. And they are first round picks. You want to stick with them. You want to see them play it out. But if you get guys knocking at the door and your third line is not going, you got to do something to get it going here, I think, because you got to be the best team you can be. And right now, I don't think you're getting enough from those guys. And it's making you a worse off team.
Yeah, we'll see what they end up doing, whether it's Saturday or next week, especially with a guy like Poitras. It feels all but inevitable that he will get called up here pretty soon. So we'll see how that plays out. Ty, before we let you go, where can we read your stuff? Where can we listen to you on the airwaves? All that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me at 985sportshub.com as well as on the air every Saturday morning, the hockey show from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. This week we had to do a 9 to 10 because the absolute shit bum Patriots have to play on a Saturday. So we have Patriots preview at 10 a.m. So we did an express show, only 1 hour. Had a hard out at 9:59, which was really stressful for me. I'm not going to lie. Because I was talking with Billy Jaffe. I like talking with Billy. Billy's
you had Pat Patriot just slamming on the glass in the recording studio.
Yeah, they had Joe Milton ready to throw a football at me from Foxborough. It was going to hit me right in the head. And Billy's a guy. He has so much knowledge about the league and what's going on with this team and that team. And so you ask him about teams and. You like the information, but you're like, oh, shit, Billy, we got to get out of here at like 9:59. So I felt really bad about that. But, yeah, you can hear me there. Also have the Sports Hub Underground podcast with Matt Dahl if we do. I'll also be hosting December 30th, Monday night. I'll be hosting the night show, 6 to 10 p.m. So you can hear me there. Follow me on social media at _Ty Anderson on pretty much every platform. So that's where you can find me. How about yourself?
Yeah, you can read my stuff over at Boston.com and the Boston Globe. We have you covered every step of the way with recaps, features, columns, breakdowns, all that good stuff. You can also find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Conor Ryan _93. Ty, thank you for taking the time out to appear on this latest episode of Poke the Bear. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Always fun doing this. And we're going to, now our holiday schedules should be a little bit easier so we can do more of these.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan. Well, fans, thank you for listening. This is Poke the Bear episode 290. You have a great rest of your week.